Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is the 1944 Cleveland Chase Brassmen National Basketball League season. 13 years after the demise of the Cleveland Rosenblums, pro basketball was back in Cleveland. And the Cleveland Chase Brassmen were playing in the National Basketball League, which was a league which lasted from 1937 until 1949, when it merged with the NBA. So the NBL, National Basketball League, home games were played at Public Hall in Cleveland. And there were only 4 teams in the league, 1944, and Cleveland finished in 4th and last place with a record of 3-15, winning percentage of 167, 13 games out of first. First place team was the Fort Wayne Pistons, who were 18-4, winning percentage of 818. Second place, the Sheboygan Redskins, 14-8. Third place, the Oshkosh All-Stars, who were 7-5. And in fourth and last place, the Cleveland Chase Brassmen were 3-15. In the playoffs, all 4 teams were in the playoffs. In the semifinals, Fort Wayne defeated Cleveland 2-0, and Sheboygan defeated Oshkosh 2-1 game. In the championship series, Fort Wayne defeated Sheboygan 3-0. The owner of the 1944 Cleveland Chase Brassmen, who played in the 1943-1944 basketball season, was Maurice White. He was the owner and president of the American Gear and Manufacturing Company. He also owned the Chicago American Gears, who were a team in the NBL from 1944 to 1947. And they had the star player George Mikan, who was one of the first big stars in the NBA. Now for the season, the player coach for the first 12 games of the season was Vito Kubelis. As a coach, he had a record of 2-10. As a player, he was a guard. He was 29 years old, 6'1". He went to the Ohio College of Chiropody, graduated in 1936. He played in 16 games, scored 32 points, an average of 2 points per game. Vito Kubelis was born in 1914 in New York City. He died in 1986 in Euclid, Ohio at age 72. Again, he was the player-coach for the Cleveland Brassmen in 1944. He played for the Cleveland Rosenblums from 1946 to 1947, and he was coach of the basketball team at John Carroll University from 1959-1960, won a title in the President's Athletic Conference, and he was a player only for the last 6 games of the season. Vito Kubelis. As coach, he was replaced by Nick Radcliffe, who coached the last 6 games at a record of 1-5. Nick Radcliffe was born in 1911, died in 2003 at age 91. Coached the last 6 games of the season and the playoffs, and he went to college at Case Western Reserve. Nick Radcliffe. Mel Reeb was the forward center, 27 years old, height 5'11", 180 pounds, did not go to college. Played in 27 games, scored 149 points, average of 5.5 points per game. Mel Reeb was born in 1916 in Cleveland, Ohio. He died in 1977 at age 61. He played pro basketball from 1943 to 1949 with the Cleveland Chase Brassmen, the Cleveland Allman Transfers, Cleveland Rebels, the Boston Celtics, and the Providence Steamrollers. He was a 2-time NBL first team in 1944 and 45, NBL Rookie of the Year in 1944, 2-time NBL scoring leader in 1944 and 45. He played minor league baseball for the Cleveland Indians. He was in the NBA for 3 years with the Cleveland Rebels and Boston Celtics. From 1950 to 1954, he went to the College of Worcester. He was ineligible to play basketball and baseball due to his pro career, but he played on the golf team. For the rest of his life, he was the football coach and basketball coach and athletic director and physical education teacher at Waynesdale High School in Apple Creek, Ohio. His brother Hank Reeb was an MLB catcher from 1942 to 1949. For his pro career, he played in 146 games, scored an average of 10.8 points per game and 1.5 assists per game. Mel Reeb. Pete Lalich was a forward, age 23, 6'2", 196 pounds. Went to Ohio University, graduated in 1942. Played in 22 games, scored 21 points, 1 point per game. Born in 1920 in Lorain, Ohio, and died in 2008 in St. Petersburg, Florida at age 87. In high school, he went to East Technical in Cleveland, Ohio. He was the captain of the championship team in 1938. He went to college at Ohio University, was a center and a 4-year starter. In 1987, he was inducted into the Ohio University Athletics Hall of Fame. Played pro basketball from 1942 till 1946 for the Sheboygan Redskins, Cleveland Chase Brassmen, and Pittsburgh Raiders, also the Youngstown Bears and Cleveland Rebels. NBL, he was in the NBL for most of his career, had 1 year in the NBA, in which he played in one game and made one field goal attempt and made one foul. After retiring from basketball, for 35 years he worked for the Western and Southern Life Insurance Company, retired in 1980 as the Divisional Vice President of Sales. His parents were Serbian immigrants. His brother Nick Lalich also played pro basketball in 1946 for the Youngstown Bears. Pete Lalich. Willie Smith was a center, 32 years old, 6'6", 230 pounds, did not go to college. Played in 4 games, scored 24 points, an average of 6 points per game. They called him Wee Willie. He was born in 1911 in Montgomery, Alabama. Died in 1992 in Cleveland, Ohio at age 80. Went to high school at East Technical in Cleveland. Pro basketball from 1931 to 1949 with the New York Renaissance, Cleveland Chase Brassmen, Dayton Wrens, and New York Renaissance. He played with them from 1931 to 1942. This was an all-black pro team. From 1932, that team, the New York Renaissance, from 1932 to 1936, the team won over 400 games, including an 88-game winning streak. And the 1933 team was inducted into the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. He was one of the few black players in the history of the NBL. When he retired from pro basketball, he was a custodian in the Cleveland Public Schools, and he operated a beverage shop. He's in the Harlem Hall of Fame, 1972 Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame. He was called the toughest player he ever faced by John Wooden. Not a good shooter, but he was a top defender and rebounder. He was discovered playing semi-pro for Cleveland's Slaughter Brothers. He was strong, quick, had great balance. He also played for the Baltimore Mets, Cleveland Fifas, Cleveland Almond Transfers, Cleveland Buckeyes, and Chicago Monarchs. For his career in Major League Basketball, he played in 36 games, scored 151 points, 4.2 points per game. He learned to play basketball at Hiram House in Cleveland. The New York Renaissance, his team record for them, their team record was they won 473 games and lost 49. From 1932 to 1936, they were considered the best team in the world, and the team got its name from playing on the dance floor of the Renaissance Ballroom in Harlem. Willie Smith. Ned Endress was a guard and a forward. He was 25 years old, 6'2", 200 pounds, college at Akron, 1940. Played in 16 games, scored 65 points, an average of 4.1 points per game. He was born in 1918 and died in 2010 at age 92. Went to college at Akron. Played pro basketball from 1943 to 1947 for the Cleveland Chase Brassmen, Cleveland Almond Transfers, Cleveland Rebels, and Youngstown Cubs. 1 year in the NBA with the Cleveland Rebels, 1946-47. He was a lifetime member of the National Basketball Retired Players Association. In the NBA, he played in 16 games at an average of 0.9 points per game and 0.3 assists per game. Ned Endress. Bill Reeb was a guard, 26 years old, 5'11", 175 pounds, did not go to college. He played in 18 games, scored 111 points, 6.2 points per game. Bill Reeb was born in 1917 in Cleveland, Ohio, and died in 2000 in Mayfield Heights, Ohio at age 82. Went to high school in Euclid, Ohio. He played pro basketball from 1943 to 1947 for the Cleveland Chase Brassmen, Cleveland Almond Transfers, and Cleveland Rosenblums. He was in the NBL for 3 seasons and had an average of 3.5 points per game in the NBL. Bill Reeb. Willard Swihart was a forward center. He was 29 years old, 6'3", 190 pounds, went to college at Toledo, graduated in 38, played in 15 games, scored 39 points, 2.6 points per game. Willard Swihart was born in 1914 in Massillon, Ohio, died in 1999 in Chardon, Ohio at age 84, went to high school at Washington in Massillon, went to college at Toledo, and played pro basketball just in 1943-44 for the Cleveland Chase Brassmen. Willard Swihart. John Ponkar was a center forward, 30 years old, 6'3", 190 pounds, did not go to college. He played in 18 games, scored 30 points, 1.7 points per game. He was born in 1913 in Ohio and died in 2010 in Linesville, Pennsylvania at age 96. Played pro basketball from 1941 to 1947 for the Cleveland Chase Brassmen and Cleveland Rosenblums, had 1 year in the NBL. John Ponkar. Frank Garcia was a guard forward, 25 years old, 6 foot flat, 175 pounds, did not go to college, played in 7 games, scored 23 points, 3.3 points per game. He was born in 1918 in Akron, Ohio, and died in 1956 in Akron at age 38. Played pro basketball from 1943 to 1946 with the Cleveland Chase Brassmen, Cleveland Allman Transfers. He was a minor league baseball player for the Butler Yankees in 1939 and the Leakesville Draper Spray Triplets in 1946. He was a baseball and basketball star at South High School in Akron. Garcia was a fixture on the Akron sports scene for 2 decades, playing on independent basketball and baseball teams. In 1945, Garcia was named the outstanding player in the National Baseball Federation tournament. In 1948, Garcia led Akron to the finals in the World Series American Baseball Congress. He died at age 36 of a brain hemorrhage. Tragic. He played for Akron independent teams, the O'Neills, Sieberlings, Schulins, Steinbergers, Goodrich, and Borden Autos. Frank Garcia. Hal Sillar was a forward center, 29 years old, 6'5", 210 pounds, went to college at Western Reserve. Played in 4 games, scored a point, an average of 0.3 points per game. He was born in 1914 in Cleveland, Ohio, and died in 1995 in Richfield, Ohio at age 81. Played pro basketball just in the 1943-44 season for the Cleveland Chase Brassmen. He was a coach at West Tech High School starting in 1936 and served in the U.S. Navy from 1943 to 1946. Hal Sillar. Gene Brownell was a center, 6'6", 235 pounds, did not go to college. Played in 9 games, scored 12 points, an average of 1.3 points per game. He was born in 1917 and died in 1988 at age 71. His hometown was Chicago, Illinois. He played pro basketball from 1937 to 1944 for the Oshkosh All-Stars, House of David, Cicero Elks, Chicago Duffy Florals, Toledo Jim White Chevrolets, and the Cleveland Chase Brassmen. Gene Brownell. Now in the playoffs, the first round, Fort Wayne beat Cleveland 2-0. Game 1 was at Fort Wayne. Game 2 was in Cleveland. The game scores were 64-37 and 42-31. Sheboygan defeated Oshkosh 2-1 game. The game scores were 32-31, 34-32, and 46-27. In the championship series, Fort Wayne defeated Sheboygan 3-0. Game scores were 55-53, 36-26, and 48-38. Games 1 and 2 were in Sheboygan, and Game 3 was in Fort Wayne. The Cleveland Chase Brassmen, the next season, they changed their name to the Cleveland Allman Transfers. So that's the story of the 1944 Cleveland Chase Brassmen. That concludes today's presentation. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.